Hello, welcome to another episode of the series Ernesto Bozzano 2025. So I welcome you all. It's a pleasure to be here once again. Today we have here with us our dear friend Carolina Correa. Hello, Carol.
Oh,
How are you?
hello, good. How are you, Munir?
I'm fine, thanks. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Likewise.
Thank you. Carolina will be talking to us about premonitory phenomena, another piece of work by Ernesto Bozzano. And before I hand it over to her, let me just say a few words about Carol. Carol Correa, she's been a language teacher to adult learners for the past 24 years. She holds a PhD in student-centered pedagogy. She worked as a language professor at the University of Delaware for 15 years. Carol currently works for the United States government as a Brazilian Portuguese language and culture instructor. She is an active member of the Spiritist Society of Virginia, where she is part of the team of Spiritist educators for children and youth. She also takes part of the team of lecturers of the Spiritist Society of Virginia's mediumistic meetings. In addition, she participates of the society's outreach efforts. And lastly, Carol also collaborates with the Spiritist Society of Virginia's team of translators in an effort to make Spiritist books more readily available in English. She is also a host at Kardec Radio. These are just a few words just to briefly introduce Carol to you. For those who don't know her, she's been with her in the previous years, also giving her contribution regarding the series about different authors. So it is a pleasure once again, Carol, to have you here.
Thank you for the opportunity for us to learn together as always. Thank you.
Yeah. And as I said before, Carol will be talking about premonitory phenomena. So I'll hand it over to you, Carol. I'll be here in
Thank you.
backstage. So just give me a shout if you need me.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. Appreciate it, Munir. Thank
A
you.
pleasure.
So we would like to thank Dr. Munir Gariba once again for the kind invitation. We would like to thank the British Union of Spiritist Societies for this opportunity of collaboration. And we would like to thank everyone who is connected to us, either live or on demand, for this opportunity for us to unite together to learn the good together as well. So let us then begin. Today we are going to be addressing one of Ernesto Bozzano's contribution to the Spiritist literature. Particularly, we are going to focus on his extensive research regarding premonitory phenomena. This is the cover we can see on the slide, the cover of the book in its original language, Italian. The book, to our knowledge, has not yet been translated fully into English. So today we are going to bring a few of the 162 cases to everyone's attention. Let us learn together with this wonderful spiritist researcher and scholar, shall we? So, who again is Ernesto Bozzano? He is an Italian Spiritist scholar and researcher. Prior to becoming a Spiritist, he was already a researcher, and it's beautiful to see throughout all of his works exploring the connection and the communication between both realms of life, how he is able to apply his scholarly skills to investigation of the spiritist or the mediumistic or the premonitory phenomena. So we see clearly that the plan of God and of the Christ is beautiful and perfect, because at the same time as Kardec brought the codification to us, we see Leon Denis, Camille Famillion, and Ernesto Bozzano joining forces to shed even more light into this very consoling doctrine that continues to transform all of our lives. So it is with much gratitude for this very illuminated minds in whose shoulders we symbolically stand, that we will now proceed in understanding a bit more of the wonderful work that Ernesto Bozzano has done to further shed light onto the interactions between the spiritual and the physical realms. So, in this book about the premonitory phenomena, which Ernesto Bozzano investigated in depth, he categorized the experimentation and research that he has done in three main categories. Let us now go over each of the categories together. The first category regard premonitions related to illnesses or physical death. The second category is regarding foresight related to the illnesses of others rather than the illnesses of oneself. The third and final category is with respect to premonitions about important occurrences not involving physical death directly. We see in this book, seminal book by Ernesto Bozzano, that there are a total of 162 cases. So we can tell that his research was very extensive, that he brought the same rigor that he adopted as an Italian scholar in academia to the Spiritist works, much like Kardec himself. So let us first, before we dive into understanding Ernesto Bozzano's research more clearly and more closely, let us go straight to our number one source, the Spirits book by Kardec, to understand why is it that sometimes the future is revealed to us incarnates. The reason is because many times we are scheduled to experience trials. And if we are able to foresee the significant events, we are then better able to accomplish the goals of spiritual growth that we had planned to accomplish more easily. So, in other words, God allows for the future to be revealed to us when this revelation can serve as a tool to strengthen us in our journey to redress potential mistakes from the past with acceptance and resignation and patience, because we know that God is in command and that our life has been planned out of love for us. We understand that this trial, this challenge, may even have been chosen by we ourselves prior to our reincarnation. So, this certainty that God is in command and that each of our reincarnatory plans is designed out of love, for love, in order for us to progress, gives us a very strong sense of hope that shall prepare us to overcome the challenges that come our way. So, with this in mind, let us examine the first case reported to us by Ernesto Bozzano in his book. This first case is regarding an expectant mother. In his report of the case, Ernesto Bozzano explains that the mother was able to foresee that she would have an accident much before the accident actually occurred. And Ernesto Bozzano describes that he was quite impressed with her ability to foresee her own illness because she could describe the circumstances of the challenge which she would experience in the near future with great precision. She even knew the time of the day in which she would suffer an accident in her own home. And she included even details describing how her recovery process after the accident would take place. This level of precision and detail indicates to us that this did not happen by chance. How do we know? We know from examining this very case reported to us by Ernesto Bozzano from a spiritist lens. So it is with this in mind that we go back to the Spirit's book by Kardec yet again. This time we go to question 258. In this question, Kardec asks, before a corporeal existence, does a spirit have the awareness and the foresight of what will happen during its new lifetime? And the answer is quite striking. The spirit mentors answer to Kardec and all of us that, quote, the spirit itself chooses the kind of trials it shall undergo, end quote. So, beloved friends, when we are free from the temporary constraints of the physical vast to which we are connected, we have greater spirit lucidity, and we are able to set spiritual goals for ourselves. What do we mean by spiritual goals? What we mean are spiritual milestones that are eternal in nature. For instance, when we study together like we are doing now, this is an eternal milestone that we are achieving, because the more we study, the more we align ourselves with God's laws, and the more we progress throughout immortality, because God's laws shall not change. Correct? Also, for instance, another eternal milestone of ours as spirits is learning to have faith, to have resignation, to have acceptance of God's love for us. And so it is only in the face of challenges that we are able to develop the spiritual muscles in order to grow spiritually. So, why is it, we might ask, that God allows for us to experience the trials that we ourselves choose? Because these trials are, one, as we just have said, opportunities for us to develop our spiritual muscles and achieve eternal spiritual milestones that are not circumscribed to this current lifetime. Two, we are able to redress mistakes from the past. That means to find new solutions to old problems. And three, because we develop stronger spiritual muscles, we are able to progress spiritually much faster. So, this is why God allows challenges to come our way, not out of punishment, as we have tended to believe for the past 2,000 years, but rather out of love. So let us now, beloved friends, take this study a step further by bringing what we are learning close to our very hearts, shall we? Because if we don't use the study that Ernesto Bozzano is bringing to us as a transformative tools for our very selves, then we are not taking full advantage of all of his effort. So let us then, with this in mind, boost our spiritual progress right now by reflecting on these therapeutic questions together. First question: are we able to recognize the opportunities of spiritual progress, which are often enclosed in our trials as reincarnatory resources provided by God to us out of love? In other words, are we able to rip the victim card apart and throw it away, free ourselves from this victim mentality in order to understand that all aspects of our reincarnation have been designed, one, with our best interest in mind, and two, to boost our progress? Second question for us to reflect upon: what might be the actual spiritual muscles that God is lovingly inviting us to exercise through the challenges that may visit us temporarily? Is it the muscle of patience? Is it the muscle of forgiveness? Could it be the muscle of compassion, of understanding, of resignation? Just like when we go to the gym to exercise particular muscle groups, life provides us the opportunity to develop particular spiritual virtues. And in order to develop these virtues, we need strong spiritual muscles. And the weightlifting of life, dear friends, is our ability to overcome challenges in ways that boost our spiritual growth. So it is with this in mind that we ask our final question for now, which is, on a scale from 0 to 10, how willing are we to accept God's reincarnatory proposal for us? Dear friends, did we ever stop to think that each of us have an illuminated map or a loving plan designed for us to overcome ourselves, our very own tendencies so that we can leave this reincarnation, graduate from this reincarnation more virtuous. What a beautiful goal from God to all of us to design an individualized, tailor made plan to boost our progress. One, are we able to recognize this plan? And two, are we able to accept it? Let us reflect upon it and from a scale from 0 to 10, think about where we fall, shall we? And now, dear friends, let us go to the second case that we would like to share as we go back to Ernesto Bozzano's research, shall we? In the second case, we would like to refer to Ernesto Bozzano's second category, which regards foresight resulting in physical death. So, the case that we have selected for us to discuss takes place during a spiritual treatment session. A spirit doctor connected to a medium is able to visit spiritually one of the patients that was under treatment in that particular spiritist gathering. As the spirit doctor visits the patient who is not physically present in that session, he is able to diagnose, the spirit doctor is able to diagnose the patient successfully. The doctor sees that he has a kidney issue, and the spirit doctor, foresees that the patient would indeed fully recover, but only after his passing to the spiritual realm. So let us now reflect on this very case from a spiritist lens. First of all, of course, we learn from this case that there is even more actual factual evidence that life goes on, that life does not end when the physical body perishes. Also, the other take home message we can bring to heart is that pain has an actual purpose in all of our lives. And the spirit doctor André Lewis, in chapter 19 of the book Action and Reaction, psychographed by Chico Xavier, helps us to understand the types of pain that we often experience while incarnated excuse us, while incarnated on earth. Number one, pain evolution. When do we experience pain evolution? This is the type of pain that encourages us to step out of our comfort zone. So, for example, sometimes we lose a job not because we are being punished, but in order for us to reinvent ourselves and to step out of our comfort zone. This is pain evolution. André Lewis explains that there's pain expiation as well to help us redress previous mistakes from previous lives. So, for instance, someone who was very susceptible to inertia, meaning the person in a previous life liked to be served, didn't like making efforts. This person may have caused a spiritual paralysis on their spiritual bodies, perispiritual bodies. As a result, they may reincarnate with a physical limitation that is but the reflection of the spiritual inertia that they practiced previously. Through this physical limitation, they may now literally make efforts to take any type of action, then learning to value the opportunity to be active in life rather than surrendering to inertia. So, this is an example of pain expiation where God allows for the pain to visit us so that we are able to redress, re educate ourselves. And then Andre Lewis, beloved friends, tells us yet about a third type of pain, which he calls aging pain. This type of pain is usually a resource that God allows for us to have in order to safeguard us from our own potential troubles or mistakes, to safeguard us spiritually. So, for example, if someone has alcoholic tendencies, in order to protect them from harming themselves further, God may allow for them to experience a temporary illness that shall prevent them from practicing the addiction further. This is called aging pain because it's a type of restriction that prevents us from recurring in a situation that may be harmful for us. So now that we have used reason and faith to understand God's magnanimous love for each and every one of us, it is time yet again for us to boost our spiritual progress right at this very moment by reflecting upon yet another case by Ernesto Bozzano. Thinking about this case of the man who found healing after discarnation, we ask ourselves, can we recognize in our lives currently the types of lessons that pain might bring us when it visits us? Can we recognize, in other words, why God allows for it? Usually we tend to ask, why me? Why me? But the question is, why God allowed it? What is the lesson behind it? If instead of putting ourselves in the position of a victim, we empower ourselves to say, God loves us, so God only allowed this circumstance to take place out of love. And thus we ask, what is the lesson? Why is it that God is presenting this to us? Then we empower ourselves to move forward. And as we learn the lesson, the pain subsides. So it is for this very reason that we end this part of our reflection with the following question. On a scale from 0 to 10, how often do we tend to feel like victims? Because, beloved friends, for as long as we feel like victims, we then prevent ourselves from freeing ourselves from the pain, from overcoming the pain. In order to overcome the pain, we need to read our life circumstances differently. rather than seeing challenges as punishments, yet again, as we have quite often, we instead embrace challenges as learning opportunities. Then we are able to shift from despair to gratitude because we understand the loving greatness of God's plan for us. Let us now that we have reflected upon God's immense goodness in our lives, let us move forward to the third and final category of cases established by Ernesto Bozzano, shall we? In this third category, Ernesto Bozzano brings us the case of Jean Pion, who, he says, went to sleep concerned with a particular financial debt, while his physical body was at rest. He remembered that in a dream he spoke to a discarnate relative that told him the precise numbers of a lottery ticket. He was able to then play and win because the exact numbers that were mentioned were actually the winning numbers. Why are we saying this? So that we play in the lottery and expect to win? No, dear friends, we are going to look at this case from a higher perspective, from a spiritual perspective rather than a material one. So, spiritually, what can we learn from this case? Number one, going to question 459 of the Spirit's book by Kardec, we learn that the spirits, discarnate and incarnates, influence our lives to a greater scale than we can imagine. So we are surrounded by spirits. We are never alone. And along the same lines of thinking, if we go, beloved friends, to question 495 of the Spirit's book, we will see a beautiful dissertation by the Spirit of St. Augustine, who tells us to count on our guardian angels. Did you know, beloved friends, that each of us have a guardian angel, an envoy of God, destined to love, protect, and inspire us? And that this angel, this protecting spirit, knows of our reincarnatory plan in detail. They prepared us before we reincarnated, and it is their mission to safeguard us. So we can always count on them. And St. Augustine in the Spirit's book tells us that we can count on them with the same tenderness that we rely on our best friends, that they are eager to inspire us, to support us, to love us. So, what we learn from this case when we look at it from a spiritual rather than a material perspective alone, we learn that we are never forsaken, that we are always surrounded by those who love us from beyond the grave as life goes on, and that our relationship with them continues, that they are willing to guide us, to protect us, to love us, and to progress with us first and foremost, especially the more elevated spirits like our guardian angels. So let us again apply what we have learned to boost our own spiritual progress. One more time, we have questions for our inner reflection. On a scale from 0 to 10, how much do we count on our guardian angels? We may say, but Carol, we are not an ostensible medium. But friends, we don't have to be ostensible mediums to feel the presence of our guardian angels. They may provide us with inspiration when we read an inspirational message. This message is often selected by them. How many times do we read a message and we say to ourselves, wow, this is exactly excuse us, this is exactly what we needed to hear. At times, they will inspire a friend, and someone will call us or text us exactly at the time when we need them most. Sometimes we will even turn on the television or go on the internet and we will read exactly what we need for our own inspiration. This is the work of the guardian angels that never ever forsaken us. And much like the case of Gian, reported by Ernesto Bozzano, do we engage in intelligent sleep? Meaning, are we aware that when we go to sleep physically, while our bodies are at rest, it is very possible for us to be in communication with familiar spirits that are already on the other side of life, our true home, with our guardian angels that may remind us of our reincarnatory plan, with doctors, nurses, therapists that may treat us, with teachers that may offer us opportunities to learn. In the book Sex and Destiny by André Luiz through Chico Xavier, we learn that in the Institute Sibling Souls, in Portuguese, Almas Irmãs, there are many, many courses that we can take together with the discarnate spirits who are also matriculated there. Isn't it beautiful, beloved friends, that even when our physical bodies are at rest, we spirits, our true selves, can remain active, can continue learning. And we see in all of the books from the Spiritist literature that even spiritual surgeries can be performed. For example, in the book Nosso Lar by the spirit doctor André Luiz through Chico Xavier, we see that the husband of André Lewis's former wife is healed during sleep as a spiritual surgery is performed on him out of pure love. So it's so beautiful how we can be useful at all times, even during sleep, how we can be connected to those whom we love, even during sleep, how we can be inspired by our guardian angels, even during sleep. God is so good that in literally every moment of every day, we can boost our spiritual progress. So, how can we then continue investing on our own spiritual growth, inspired by the beautiful words of Ernesto Bozzano? He reminds us that reincarnation is not a vacation, that there will be a time when we will return to the spiritual home and we will have to be accountable for our actions. He also reminds us that challenges are opportunities for growth. And he shows us factually that life goes on. What a beautiful message of hope. Finally, we are reminded by him that we are responsible for our own destinies, as we ourselves recall the trials that we have chosen in order for us to progress spiritually. And finally, and most importantly, we learn, or rather, we are reminded of a beautiful gift that God never forsakes any of us. Let us then, with much gratitude to Ernesto Bozzano, hope that he can receive our dearest vibrations and hope that his works can continue to be disseminated together with Kardec's Leon Denis, Camille from Lyon, spreading hope together with reason and faith. Thank you so much, dear friends, for this opportunity for us to learn together. Right, Mimi?
Thank you, Carol. Very nice presentation, very inspiring, and I hope it has invited those watching us to look for the book. As you mentioned, it's not already, it hasn't been fully translated into English, but nowadays we have so many tools. You
Yeah.
can get, translation in real time, and it makes things easier. So we can at least, have a look at the book. How many cases did you mention you found?
162.
162. So people could just get, the cases they find more interesting to them, and translate that bit of the book, and and do their own study. And the idea here is just to bring a flavor of the book,
Yes.
so people get encouraged to read. And so thank you very much indeed.
Thank
And
you for the opportunity to learn together.
yeah, and it's so fascinating, the work of Bozzano, Ernesto Bozzano. He's published so many books. He's done research in so many aspects, and it just gives the practical side of what Kardec has brought to us in more theoretical, aspects. And Kardec, I mean the spirits, through the work of compilation that Kardec did. So
Mhm.
it's very interesting to see in practical case, and I was really amazed by the fact that that case, the guy who won the lottery, inspired by a relative in dreams. And people may be asking, why don't I
Yes,
get
isn't it
solutions to my
amazing?
life? I'm asleep. And maybe we get, it's just that when we wake up, things get mixed up, and
Exactly, yes. And
but yeah,
also, this may not be in our reincarnatory plan, right?
indeed, yeah. And there's always a higher purpose for things. It's not just
Mhm.
the mere fact of winning something that is material. Why to use this, spiritual interaction in order just to gain something that is material? But perhaps it's a way to help people see that there's more to life than just, the material aspect of it. Especially those who hasn't reached a degree of spiritualization. They are still too concerned with the physical aspects of the incarnation. And but we know that the spirits are around us. We can get, as I mentioned, from our guardian angel and those who are actually responsible for our incarnation, because we
Absolutely.
are part of a group. We
Mhm.
belong to a large group in the spirit world. Few of us are here at the moment. Most of this group is actually in the spirit world. They are giving all the support and everything, so for us to succeed in this incarnation. As you said, we are not here on holidays. We are not here, just to remain in our comfort zone, but actually to face the challenges and and grow in that
Yes.
sense.
The first
So
time we heard this particular warning that reincarnation is not a holiday was actually in England while visiting the British Union of Spiritist Societies
I
and
see.
meeting our dear Janet Duncan. She
Oh,
was the one who illuminated our spirits with this wonderful realization. So we thank her.
yeah. Because we tend to see difficulties in life as either punishment or kind of a waste of time. But on the contrary, they are actually, these challenges are the lessons that we need, the opportunities that we need to
Exactly.
grow. And your presentation was really inspiring, picking up, some case. Of course, you wouldn't be able to talk about all the cases in the time that we had,
Hmm.
but very well illustrated. And so thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
And before we go, will just make some announcements.
Okay, sounds
Just bear
wonderful.
with me, yeah,
Of course.
for a minute. I'll just add here the announcement. So we have plenty of things going on. Next month is going to be our ninth presentation of the Ernesto Bozzano series 2025. We'll have here with us Dr. Shane Martin. She'll be talking about the work by Ernesto Bozzano, whose title is Thoughts and Will. That's going to be on the 7th of September. It is the first Sunday of September, same time, 7 p.m., British Summer Time. So I invite all of you to be with us for this talk. I'm sure it's going to be a very nice one as usual. We also have the Spiritual Lights every Wednesday. It's 9 p.m. London time, so you have to check. We have here the Pacific daytime uh, and the Eastern daytime as well. The United States, 5 p.m. in Brazil. We have 9 p.m. as I mentioned in British Summer Time. The same for Ireland, and 11 p.m. Lithuania. But you can always watch it later. We'll have on the 6th of August, next Wednesday, our dear friend Guilherme Diaz will be talking um, about mediumship and moral responsibility. In this program, Spiritual Light, where we have as hosts our dear friend Charles Kemp, Elsa Rossi, and also Stephen Bertoso. So if you can, please watch it. But as I said before, you can always watch it later, if not live. But the good thing about watching it live is you can interact and ask questions. So it's always very nice. So in September, we will have the International Congress Joanna de Angelis. So you have here the QR code if you are interested. You can make your enrollment. It's lots of uh, very good guest speakers. So you can get more information on these websites, or you can always point your mobile phone to the QR codes and get information and your enrollment. The Spiritist Center for Peace holds online studies every Wednesday, 12 noon London time. And the study is on the book Heaven and Hell by Allan Kardec, and also the Gospel According to Spiritism. So we do that on using Zoom platform, and you can always join us. It's you're most welcome to do that. You have here the ID and also the passcode to join the group and the study. I'm sure you won't regret. We also have a study on the Mediums book. It's on Saturday, 10:30 a.m. London time. We have this study. We are actually starting again um, in a couple of weeks. So this coming Saturday, we'll be finishing the book, and then the following one, we'll start it again. So it's a nice time to join the study group. It's hosted by or coordinated by Charles Kemp, Guilherme Diaz, and myself. So Saturdays, 10:30 a.m. London time. And the Spiritist Society of London also holds an online study on a book, Heaven and Hell, and the Gospel According to Spiritism. This time, the study is on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. London time, and you have the meeting ID and passcode for Zoom down here, so you are most welcome to join the study group. And the young people exploring Spiritism together. This is a weekly online meeting for young people. So you can get further information, writing to office@bus.org.uk, and you can always get your kids or yourself, joining this group for young people. We have the Bus newsletter, quarterly publication of the British Union of Spiritist Society. So write to office@bus.org.uk to get your free copy. We also have the Spiritists magazine. So if you are interested, you have here the direction how to go to the site and get a copy of the Spiritist magazine. And also you can learn more about the mortal being. There's Kardec bot. You have here also the address. So you can make your questions and get your answers regarding the immortal being and Spiritism. And finally, we want to thank Kardec Radio for this wonderful collaboration, always helping us to bring to you this program about the great Spiritists and their contribution with books, research, and so much. So we thank Kardec Radio from the bottom of our hearts. So that's what we had as announcement for today, quite a few. So, Carol, once again, I want to thank you for your wonderful presentation. Very thought-provoking and inspiring. So, and hope to see you again in another series.
Absolutely. It's always wonderful to multiply the good together.
Wonderful. But in December, as usual, we make a round table with all the guest speakers of that year, where we have the chance just to, leave our final message about our contribution. So
Wonderful.
I hope to see you there.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you all for being here with us, and hope to see you on the 7th of September for another presentation on the series about Ernesto Bozzano. So from us, thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Bye.